Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Hot Girls Eat Carbs. I am so glad you're here with me today, whether you're out on your morning walk with the sun in your face, or you're curled up in bed scrolling through your phone in that quiet space before the day really begins. Or maybe just sitting with a coffee, trying to quiet the noise in your head and have it all figured out. This moment is for you. It's just us, a little bubble for us to chat it all out. Before we dive into the deep stuff, let's do a quick little life update because honestly, the last couple of weeks have been a whirlwind. First up, the big news. Josh had his fight last week and he absolutely won, you guys. I can't even begin to describe the energy in that room. It was electric. To see someone you love pour their entire heart and soul and body into something for months on end, the discipline, the early morning, the sacrifices, and then to watch them achieve that goal in front of everyone, it is just an overwhelming feeling, honestly. I think I was more nervous than he was. My heart was pounding out of my chest the entire time, but I was just bursting with pride. I am so proud of him. Naturally, we had to celebrate. We packed our bags and escaped to Phuket for a few days. And wow, we had such a great time. It was such a perfect reset. We completely switched off from our work and the rest of the world. We rode scooters through the roads. We went found some hidden beaches and we ate the most incredible food. Oh my God, also back in Malaysia, wow, guys, the food in Malaysia is incredible. There is this thing, if anybody is ever going to Malaysia, you need to go and try the street food. It is like a Malaysian roti, and inside they have, you can either pick like pulled beef or chicken, and then they drizzle all this like delicious sauce over it, and it's so crunchy and so juicy and so delicious. Oh my goodness, guys, like please do me a favor. Or if you can just find it wherever you're from, if you're not going to Malaysia, please do me a favor and give it a go. You can thank me later. Anyway, so yes, when we were back in Phuket, we just had some time off. We allowed ourselves to just be present and explore, and it was exactly what we both needed just to reconnect and breathe after a hectic couple of months. But now we are back home in beautiful Koh Samui, and that relaxed holiday mode has officially switched onto full work mode. My 12-week challenge officially kicks off on Monday, and I am buzzing with excitement. I have been a busy bee behind the scenes, setting up all the programs, filming content, and just getting the community platform ready. And I have this incredible feeling in my gut that it's going to be such a powerful, transformative round. The energy is already amazing, and I genuinely cannot wait to get started with all the incredible women joining. Okay, so let's get into the heart of today's episode, a topic that I know will hit home for so many of us. And it is the feeling of being completely and utterly lost in your 20s. And where on earth do we even begin to start when everything just feels like such a chaotic mess? And I will be the first to admit it, my 20s have been something but a straight line. They've been a wild, beautiful, messy scribble. And when I look back, there are so many distinct seasons where I genuinely thought that I was failing and where I felt like I was falling so far behind everybody else. But I know deep down that I'm not the only one who has felt this way. When I first embarked on my weight loss journey, I was so profoundly lost. I had no real roadmap. I was just waking up with this tight, anxious knot in my chest. Sometimes it was spiraling into a full-blown panic attack because the pressure I was putting on myself was suffocating. I just wanted to see the results instantly, and every single day was a battle of questioning if I was doing anything right. And it was this deep, aching feeling that I wasn't living up to my full potential. But the frustrating part was I didn't even know what that potential was supposed to look like. It was this messy, confusing cocktail of wanting to change so desperately, but feeling like I was blindfolded, stumbling around in the dark, and I was just bumping into things and hoping one of them was the right way forward. And then a few years later, when I started my coaching business, I found myself in another lost season, which was so confusing because on the surface, it was everything I had ever dreamt of. I was helping women transform their lives. I was building a business from my passion, creating this community that I absolutely adored. But in those quiet moments and in the back of my mind, this little voice of doubt would creep in and it would whisper things like, are you really good enough for this? Who are you to be giving this advice? Are you just making it all up as you go along? There was this persistent nagging question hanging over me. Am I truly on the right path, or am I just an imposter about to be found out? Then came the massive life shift of moving to Thailand. I remember that season so vividly. From the outside, it looked like a dream, and in many ways it was. I loved the freedom, I loved the adventure. I loved the vibrant culture, the simple lifestyle. But at the same time, I couldn't shake this feeling of uncertainty. Like, was this the right decision? A part of me was terrified that I was just running away from my problems living in Australia and that I was choosing an easy escape instead of facing the hard stuff head on. And there were days where I felt like I was just floating, wasting my precious years with no clear direction or purpose. And if I'm being completely honest, I felt so lonely at times. And all of these moments, as different as they were tied together by the same theme, that gut-wrenching sense of not being sure, of feeling ungrounded, and a fear that I was screwing everything up. But I look back now with clarity, and I can see that feeling lost wasn't a sign that I was failing. It was a sign that I was learning, and it was the universe pushing me into periods of intense growth that I couldn't see at the time. What those seasons taught me is that feeling lost doesn't mean that you're broken or failing. It means that you're in the messy, chaotic, beautiful process of building something that you can't fully see the blueprint yet for. And at the time, I interpreted my panic attacks, the imposter syndrome, and the loneliness as evidence that I was doing life all wrong. But in reality, those were the very experiences that were shaping me. When I was lost in the chaos of my weight loss journey, I learned the invaluable lesson of discipline. I learned how to show up for myself every single day, even when it was messy, uncomfortable, and I had no idea if it was working. When I felt lost in the beginnings of my coaching business, I learned courage. I learned how to back myself, to believe in my own voice, even when there was no external validation or guarantee that it would all work out. And when I felt lost and lonely after moving to Thailand, I learned how to trust, trusting my intuition, trusting that I could make bold choices, even if they didn't fit the traditional life path everybody else seemed to be on. And the biggest lesson through it all, you don't need to have all the answers to move forward. You don't need a perfectly detailed 10-year plan. You just need the courage to keep taking the next step, that wobbly step, and allow yourself the grace to grow into the version of you that can handle the next chapter. So if you're listening to this right now and you feel like you're drifting, confused, or hopelessly behind, I just want to say that you are not. Please hear me when I say this. You are in a part of your story that will one day make perfect sense. No one, and I mean no one, actually has it all figured out. Even the people who look like they do from a distance. The ones with the impressive job title, the picture-perfect relationship on Instagram, the flawlessly curated feed. They're all just figuring it out behind the scenes, just like you. And they have their own doubts. They have their own fears. And they have their own moments of wondering if they're on the right path. We've been sold this outdated, frankly ridiculous idea that by the time you hit your mid-20s, you should have a 5-year plan, be steadily climbing the career ladder, and have a clear vision of what you want in a partner, and basically be this polished, fully formed, sorted version of yourself. But the real truth is, your 20s aren't about having it all mapped out. They're your designated laboratory for life. They're about experimenting. They're about trying on different jobs, different cities, and different versions of yourself. They're about failing spectacularly and learning from wreckage, pivoting, and slowly, piece by piece, gathering the data you need to figure out what actually feels good and true for you. And honestly, the mistakes, the wrong turns, the jobs you hate, the relationships that end in heartbreak, those experiences are just as important, if not more so, than the wins. They are your greatest teachers. They show you, with clarity, what you don't want, and that is just as valuable as figuring out what you do want. You are not behind. You are simply living your timeline. And your path doesn't need to look like your best friends, your sisters, or that girl you follow on Instagram. And sometimes the detours, the years that feel messy, unproductive, or unclear, end up being the very seasons that shape you into the best person that you're becoming. So instead of beating yourself up for not being further along, I want you to ask yourself a different question. What am I learning right now? What is this season? In all its messiness, what is it trying to teach me? Because that is the real work in your 20s. And I think another one of the biggest reasons so many of us feel so lost is the giant trap of comparison. And let's be real, most of that is fueled by social media. We scroll and we see people our own age who look like they've already crossed the finish line. They've got that dream house, the perfect aesthetic, that goal body, the luxury car, the soulmate relationship, the thriving dream career, and they're only 20, 21, 22 years old. Your brain immediately short circuits and goes into panic. How on earth did they do that? What am I doing wrong? Why am I so far behind? But here's the crucial thing that we have to burn into our brains. Social media is a tiny, fractional, hyper-curated snippet of somebody's life. It is a highlight reel, not the full, unedited documentary. People choose what they want to show you. That girl with the perfect apartment and the new designer bag, she could be drowning in credit card debt, taking out loans, or living in a family situation that makes her deeply miserable behind the scenes. That couple posting the blissful sun-drenched holiday photos, they might be having silent, tense dinners and fighting every single night the moment that the cameras are off. The fitness influencer with the dream body and the six-pack abs, she could be secretly struggling with an eating disorder, obsessive exercise habits, or a crushing sense of self-hatred every time she looks in the mirror. The truth is, every single person on this planet has messy, complicated, stressful, unglamorous parts of their life. They just don't post those parts on their Instagram grid. So when you compare your real, raw, 24/7 life with all its anxieties, its laundry piles, its boring Tuesdays, and its moments of doubt, to somebody else's edited, filtered, strategically chosen highlight reel, of course you're going to feel like you're failing. You're comparing your reality to their performance. And that, my love, is the trap. Social media makes it dangerously easy to believe that your life isn't enough. We don't see their stress, their uncertainty, their loneliness, their failures. All the same human feelings that you're going through too. So next time you catch yourself in that toxic scroll and spiral cycle, I want you to take a deep breath and remind yourself, it's not real. It's marketing. It's a curated snapshot, a brand, a story designed to look perfect. If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or lost right now, I want to give you a few gentle, tangible places to start. These aren't big, scary, overwhelming life changes. They're small, grounding shifts that can help you come back home to yourself. Focus on one small anchor habit. When life feels heavy and confusing, our instinct is often to try and overhaul everything at once. A new workout routine, a new diet, a new morning ritual, new career goals. But all of this all or nothing approach usually leaves us feeling even more overwhelmed and like a failure when we can't maintain it. Instead, choose one small thing to anchor you. Just one. Maybe it's going for a 15-minute walk every single day. Maybe it's cooking yourself one nourishing meal from scratch. Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes before bed to get your thoughts out of your head. These tiny, consistent acts of showing up for yourself sends a powerful message to your subconscious. I am capable. I can trust myself. And once you're consistent with that one thing, momentum naturally begins to build for the next. Detach from the imaginary timeline. This one is huge. We all have this invisible ticking clock in the background of our minds. By 25, I should be engaged. By 28, I should own a home. By 30, I should be in my dream career. But life doesn't run on a neat, linear schedule. The pressure of this timeline is often the very thing that makes us feel so behind. Your journey is yours and yours alone. There is no cosmic deadline on figuring things out. Some flowers bloom in early spring, others in late autumn. They're both equally beautiful. When you let go of the shoulds and start focusing on what feels right for you right now, you stop living for some imaginary finish line and actually start living in your present. Romanticize the season you're in. Even when it feels messy, uncertain, and far from perfect, there is beauty to be found in the in-between. Sometimes the only thing we can truly control is how we choose to experience our days. So make the little things feel special. Sip your morning coffee from a cup that makes you feel genuinely happy. Take slow sunset walks and actually look at the colors in the sky. Light a candle when you do your skincare routine. Create a playlist that feels like a warm, comforting hug. When you intentionally sprinkle these small, beautiful rituals into your day, life starts to feel softer. It's a powerful reminder that joy doesn't just live in the big future milestones. It can exist right here, right now, in the small, quiet moments. Ask yourself better, gentler questions. When you feel lost, Asking yourself huge paralyzing questions like, what is my ultimate purpose? Or what is the point of all this? Can send you into a full spiral. They're just too big. Instead, I want you to shift to gentler, more curious questions. Try asking, what feels good right now? What am I curious about learning? What would I like to try, just for the fun of it, with no pressure on the outcome? Curiosity is the gentle, friendly guide that leads you to clarity. You don't need to know your 5-year plan. You just need to follow the next breadcrumb of what sparks that little flicker of interest of joy inside you. Surround yourself with expanders, the people you listen to, the content you consume, and the communities that you're part of shape your perspective more than you can possibly realize. Actively seek out expanders. These are the people, podcasts, books, or online communities that make you think, wow, maybe I could do that too. An expander is anybody who shows you what's possible and widens your view of what you can achieve. They don't have to be in your close friends. Sometimes it's an author whose story resonates with you, or an online creator whose journey inspires you. The point is to consciously put yourself in a digital and physical environment where possibility feels normal. Because when you see proof that something is possible for someone else, you start to believe it's possible for you too. You don't need to have your dream career, the perfect body, or the love of your life locked in by 25. Honestly, you don't even need to have all the answers by 30 or 35 or ever. What truly matters is that you keep showing up for yourself in the small, quiet ways that count. Choosing habits that make you feel grounded, following the whispers of your curiosity, and being brave enough to keep trying even when you're scared and unsure. Your 20s are allowed to be messy. They're supposed to be. They're allowed to feel confusing, chaotic, and breathtakingly beautiful all at once. Some days you'll feel like you're on top of the world, and others you'll lie in bed wondering if you're even moving forward at all. But this is the entire point. This is your building season. It's not supposed to look polished or perfect. It's supposed to be the season that teaches you, stretches you, and molds you. And the most beautiful part is one day you're going to look back on this exact season of your life and you will realize that not a single moment was wasted. Every breakdown, every wrong turn, every lonely night spent wondering what you're doing with your life, it was all shaping you. It was carving out a deeper resilience, a quieter patience, a fiercer courage, and a more profound knowing of who you truly are. So if you feel behind right now, please take this as your sign. Remind yourself that you're not. You're in the exact chapter where you're meant to be. The version of you 5 years from now will look back at the person you are today and thank you. She'll thank you for not giving up when everything felt unclear. She'll thank you for having the courage to stick with the messy middle because that is what made her strong enough to step into the incredible woman that she was always destined to become. So if you're feeling lost, please start here. Not with a massive life overhaul, not with a rigid 10-year plan, but with one small, compassionate step, one gentle habit, and one single act of love towards yourself. Because those little things, choosing to go for that walk, making yourself that nourishing meal, journaling your chaotic thoughts, saying no when you need to rest, they are the building blocks, the slow piece by piece that build into the bigger picture. And that is how you create a life that feels good and true, even when you don't have all the answers yet. And just remember, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. If this episode spoke to you today, please consider sharing it with a friend, a sister, or anyone in your life who may need to hear this gentle reminder too. I appreciate you and thank you again for tuning in today. I will see you in the next episode.